Hi, I wanted to do a video just demonstrating our cooking surface prime induction hob. There's a few videos online about these hobs, but there aren't really many from people who have purchased them showing actual use. I've had our hob now for 12 months, so have had pretty good regular use of our hob. So just wanted to give my opinion, things we've done, things that have worked well, things I don't like. Before purchasing our hob, I was lucky enough to demo this cooking surface prime in the UK in the showroom in London. I also managed to go down to London to demo one of the competing hobs called TPB Tech, and I also demoed the InvisiCook system before we chose this. And there are pros and cons of all three of those, but we decided to go for this cooking surface prime. So our unit is the 3-burner hob. So the 3-burner hob has 3 different size rings. The most powerful one is this one here on the right. So that's like I think it's about 27 inch and it's 2,200 watts. So you do notice that the big ring heats up much quicker. I tend to use that if I'm wanting sort of high heat things, so cooking a steak, or if you've got a big pan of water and you want to boil it the quickest, you'd use this this large ring. For our system, the unit sort of fits underneath, so we still have full use of the cupboard. This is a 60 cabinet here, and the 3-burner fits within that. So we have full use of the top drawer, as you can see there. We have a rail system here, so it's called a true handleless kitchen, and it doesn't go further down than that there. So that's good. So our hob came with pans. It came with stainless steel pots and frying pans with non-stick coatings. The pans that come with it have little risers, as you can see there. They hold it off the surface of the stone to stop the stone getting so hot. And yeah, they hold them off about 3 or 4 mils. These pans work fine, they work really well. If you like stainless steel pans, then the big stock pots are great. They heat up really quick. The frying pans I don't like as much. Although they're non-stick, they've got little dimples in it, which is fine for most things, but if you're cooking something like pancakes, they're not ideal. So I'll talk a little bit in a second about what I've kind of done to use other pans. The hob also came with silicone mats, so it came with these mats here. So if you want to use any other type of pan, you can just place this down over the ring and put your normal pan down, as long as it's an induction compatible pan, and they should work. The problem with these silicone mats is they're way more than 4 mils. So you'll find that any kind of normal pan will heat up much slower because it's further off the stone, further from the inductor. So I didn't really use these. You can get alternatives. So I think the InvisiCook hob use these ones, Lazy K mats. So they're much thinner. So will hold your pats closer to the surface. They work really well. So that's definitely a good option. And you can get them in various different sizes, certainly in the UK and the States. But what I wanted to do was use other brands of pan without having to use the mats. I don't really like having to put these down. So I developed a system. I tried a couple of options. First, I just tried putting little blobs of epoxy on the bottom of the pans, which worked okay, but it didn't look very nice. So then I decided to make my own little risers for pans. These are Circulon scratch defense pans. So I have a whole set of these. And as you can see there, I put risers on the bottom. So again, these will hold the pans something like 3-4 mils off the surface. I think they're 3 mils. And all they are is a little countersunk washer and a little screw. These are made out of stainless steel, but what I made sure was that this type of stainless steel is non-magnetic. So it's usually 304 grade. You don't want these to heat up like the bottom of the pan will. The bottom of the pan for induction pans has a different type of stainless steel often that is magnetic. It's usually I think 430 grade stainless steel. So to put these on, these are this 3 mil hex screws that are about 5 mils long. So I used a 2.5 mil drill bit to drill down into the pan, about a couple of mils. And then I just screwed them in. There's absolutely nothing else holding those in there. And they work really well because they're closer than using the thick mat, and they heat up pretty quick. I would say this pan doesn't heat up quite as quick as the ones that came with the hob, but they have a thicker base, so it retains heat better. So you'll see that that bottom is magnetic, but the side of the pan is not, so it won't hold on. Whereas the pans that come with it, show you here, are magnetic on the bottom, but they're also magnetic on the sides. And that's because this is a magnetic grade of stainless steel that goes all the way to the sides. So you're getting more heat generation from these kind of pans. Yeah. I've also put my own risers on it's like a hex clad type frying pan. It's a really big one, it's 30 centimeters. So I use this for pancakes. And I've put risers on this one. This one was too thin to screw into. So I've put little risers on just using, I drilled in just a mil and used a bit of epoxy, high heat epoxy, to stick those on. And it has the same effect, basically holds them off the surface of the stone. And that works really well. What I'll do is I'll show you a demo in a second of how quick the hob is to heat up. A lot of people are concerned with these kind of hobs that they're not that powerful. I've had no problems with ours in terms of power. It was similar to our glass induction one we had before. I have used a few other types of induction hob. There are some that are more powerful definitely on the market with really high boost modes and things like that for boiling water really quickly. But I haven't found any issues with ours, it's pretty quick. I did a test previously that showed that the pans that came with it boiled 2 litres of water in 7 minutes, so it's pretty quick. In reality, if I was like cooking a big pan of boiling water for, say, pasta for lots and lots of people, what I would tend to do is fill it from my boiling water tap. Because it's more efficient, it's like instantly getting it to boiling. Then you just like a minute just to get it back up to boiling once you put it on the hob. Yeah, so I've got something on at the moment. So that's on the second biggest ring there on the front. Smallest ring's at the back there. So that's just what I've got on there. I've got a stew on there at the moment. That's a pretty big pot. And that has been going for over an hour, that stew. That's on number 2 out of 9. Yeah, so that's on there. If I move that to the side, I can put my hand down there. It's pretty hot. You wouldn't want to hold your hand there, but I can touch it. And that's been on there for over an hour. So you maybe noticed something that I've done with iSystem. So we took the design choice not to etch the stone. So one of the things that is recommended with these types of hob is that you can mark where the rings are on your stone. So you can put rings on or crosses, and that way you know where your pan should be. But we wanted to keep our stone completely untouched. So what I decided, I kind of worked out myself where where the rings and the pans should go, because of the variation in our stone. But if someone else is using your hob, then they kind of struggle just to know where to put things. So what I decided to do was make a laser system to mark the center of each ring. So you can see there the red dots. See they're there coming on a finger, the back there, and there's one here as well. So I've got that to turn on with using a smart button here. So I can press that now, and then those will turn off. And then I can turn it back on. They come back on. So basically what they are, I can show you above. So I fitted them within a recess of our ceiling extractor fan. You can see the 3 lasers there shining down. So I'll show you over here what I've done to make that. So I bought these little lasers off Amazon. They were pennies, they didn't cost much at all. They run off 5 volts, so they can run off a USB. So basically what I did was something a bit like this. This is a prototype I did. So you can see there, this is just epoxy, high heat epoxy, but basically epoxy that's set completely hard. And there's 3 lasers in there, and I've just wired them up together. So you could just wire that into a USB cable. They're 5 volts, so you need to wire it into a USB, or if you've got some sort of 5 volt adapter. At the bottom of this, I decided to stick a magnet, so that when I stuck it to the extractor, it would just click on and hold itself in place. But obviously there may be other ways of doing that depending on your system. So that's what I've done. So that's then wired up, in my system, it's wired up to a USB cable on this side that then plugs in to a little smart switch. It's actually a Tapo smart switch I use. And then you can control those smart switches via these smart buttons. So that's how I run the lasers, so I can have them on or off depending if whether I want to or not. But we found the lasers work really, really well. And they're actually better than etching, because you still know where the center of your ring is, even when you're cooking. The problem with etching is as soon as you put a pan on top, you don't really know where the etching is. Whereas now I've still got the red mark in the middle of my pan. I know that's bang in the middle. So it's fantastic. It works really, really well. But I suppose the thing with this depends on what you have above and how discreetly you can have something sort of built in. For us, we were lucky that we have a sort of ceiling extractor that has like a recess within it. So it works well for us, and you obviously just don't see it when it's off. So the hob itself has a controller. The controller is connected by a cable, and so it's in our drawer here. So you can just have this sitting on the countertop. So we decided that we didn't like that look. It was kind of messy. We wanted to create so we created this is just a sample piece of oak that I cut out, a hole for the smart button for the lasers and for the controller itself. It's got space underneath so we can still use the full draw. So we tend to do that. Once you've turned the hob on, you can just control it by your phone from the app, which works really, really well. So that way you can keep your draw closed as well. But we just tend to sort of adjust the setting and then close the drawer and open it when we need to. So that's the controller. It works fairly well, the controller, and the app does as well. You definitely need to turn it on before you can use the app, which is a bit of a shame. The lock, it's got a child lock on it, which turns on automatically after a minute or two. I would have rather that to be just an option that you could turn it on yourself to have a child lock on. So what I find is if I've not changed the setting, the power setting, for a couple of minutes, it's already gone and locked itself. You need to hold this to unlock, and then you can adjust the power level there. So you just select the ring and then adjust the power as you want to. Yeah, so that's the controller. As you may be able to hear, there's a bit of noise from the hob. I'd definitely say the Cooking Surface Prime hob is a bit noisier than a typical induction hob. They will all have fans. What we tend to find is if the draw's closed, the noise is like pretty non-existent. So that's just another reason to want to have your controller out of the way. If you're pulling it out and putting it on the surface, you're going to leave your drawer ajar, or your door, or whatever you've got underneath. So you'll leave a little bit of a gap, which will allow noise to kind of come out. The noise, I would say, is, believe it or not, quietest if you're just using the large ring by itself. And that's because this just uses a standard fan to cool the unit. This left double unit seems to have a radial fan, which is a bit noisier. So whenever you're using any rings on this side, it's a little bit noisier. But when the draw's closed, like I say, it's just not an issue at all. You'll find that the noise from your pan or your cooking is always more than the hob. Extractor noise is more as well. So yeah, it's fine. But what I would say is, for us, we wanted to have this pretty much closed most of the time, just to help a little bit from that regard. Yeah, so I think what I'd probably do now is just give you a little demo of the hob and how quick it is. I'll cook a ribeye steak and just show you how quickly we can get it up to temperature and cook it. I'll use the large ring, and I'll use the pan that I've put my own risers on. Actually no, I'll use the pan that came with it, because that's a good demonstration of the unit as it would come. Yeah, okay, so I'll show you that now. Okay, so just going to do the demo as I said. So I'm just going to cook a ribeye steak. So I'm going to do this from a cool pan, okay, and we're going to just show you how quickly it is to heat up the frying pan and ready for the steak. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on. Sorry, it's already on. We're going to put that ring on. I'm going to put it up to 9, which is the highest. You can hear it switching on there. And now I'm in the center of the ring. You can see my red dot. So I'm just going to put some oil in the pan. Okay. Just going to give that a second just to heat up. Probably wait until start to see a little bit of smoke coming off the oil. And we know it's kind of up to temperature. So I reckon probably no more than a minute, and this will be, see the smoke there on that already? So that's already ready to go, super quick. So I'm just going to stick my steak in. Okay. There's definitely no concerns about this hob being hot enough for doing things like this. This worked really, really well. I mean, ideally you probably want to have a bigger ring on here, a bigger frying pan on this one. It's just quite a big inductor, so like the one I've got back there. But I just wanted to show you using the pans that come with it. And these are quick to heat up. Yeah, they're super quick to heat up, and they get really, really hot. You see that cooking pretty quick. So as I said to you earlier in the video, when you're just using this big inductor, the noise is much less. You can hear the noise there. It's not too bad at all. When you close, all you're hearing is the noise from the frying pan. There you go, I think that's already ready to turn. It's pretty insanely hot. So I hope that video just helped give a bit of a demonstration of how well this unit works. If you've got any questions, just post in the comments and I'm happy to help. So I think that's probably ready now. I can actually show you underneath as well. So look how hot that pan is. So it moves out of the way. And I can place my hand and hold my hand underneath that pan. Okay. Thank you for watching.